It's frozen. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the 100 mile per hour lawnmower build. So in the last video, we got the brakes, the gas, and the floorboards all put in place. Just want to put this out there. I just like NOS. Not affiliated in any way, but hit me up, guys. No, I do like their industry. So today, what we're going to be doing is placing the motor in here for the hopefully very last time, and we're going to be mounting up all the things we need to get this thing moving. So the jack shaft, the chain, the belt. We're going to be putting everything in, getting this thing ready to move under its own power. Basically, this is the only thing I can do right now because I'm still waiting on my next paycheck so I can purchase stuff for the wiring and the battery and all the things like that. However, this video is still going to be a good one. Alright, so just to go over the jack shaft again, I'm sorry if the lights are super bright, but this is our jack shaft. We have a bearing on each side that I'm going to make plates for and weld this to. Now, once these are in place, we're going to figure out a notch because there is a keyway on each of these items. We're going to notch them, or the shaft, I'm going to notch with the Dremel that we have. And from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bottom pulley, chop it off, and then I'm going to weld it to this 1-inch clutch, and I'm just going to weld it on, and then once that's all welded on, I'll slip it onto the shaft. It'll give us a little bit more ground clearance in the front as well, and that way I'll have a clutch that can then run to this pulley here. This pulley is attached to the same shaft that this sprocket is. So this sprocket will spin when this pulley spins, and because of the ratio, this is going to spin about, so it's 4.5, sorry, down to 2.5, so it's about double the rotation of the motor, which means this thing will spin close to 6,000 plus RPM, which will allow this sprocket to turn this sprocket, to turn those wheels about 98, 99 miles per hour, close to 100. I would like to get 100, if not more, but time will tell. Hopefully the gearing will even allow us to start moving, because if we can't move, then there's a problem, because we need to be able to move to get up to speed. So that's the plan. I'm going to keep cruising along, keep you guys in the loop, keep you guys updated, and I will get back to you once we start making some moves here. Alright, so what I've decided to do is put the clutch on the jack shaft, and I'll go ahead and tell you why. So by putting the clutch on the motor, the clutch engages fully at 2,600 RPM. The motor itself gets up to 33. So that's not a whole lot of engagement at all. What we need is for it to engage sooner. What we need for it to do is engage sooner. So by having the jack shaft, remembering that it spins double the amount that the motor does, engine, let's say, idles at around 800 at its lowest, right? So at 800 RPM, the jack shaft is spinning at 1,600. Clutch starts to engage around 2,000. So once the engine gets a tiny bit of throttle to get up to 1,000 RPM, the clutch is already starting to engage. At 2,600 RPM, the clutch is fully engaged and locked in place. By that time, the engine is spinning at 1,300 RPM. So when the engine is spinning at 1,300 RPM, the jack shaft is spinning at 26. This means that we have a longer power band, or time that the wheels are actually getting the most amount of power for engagement. Now, if the clutch were to be engaged by the motor, we would not see the wheels start moving until the motor was at higher RPM, essentially floored. Now, with this being a top speed vehicle, we would need the RPMs to engage as low as possible. And since we can't have it engage any sooner than that, it would cause the motor to bog down and we would just burn through clutch after clutch after clutch, and this thing would not move at all. So we are going to end up putting the clutch on the jack shaft itself right here. And hopefully that made sense to you guys. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight line all the way down the jack shaft. This will give me a good reference to where my keyway needs to be and where it needs to stay. Now the clutch needs to sit somewhere in line with this sprocket. So I'm going to bring our first keyway probably down to here, about a little bit more than a third, a little bit less than a half of the way down the shaft. That way we have room for error. Now, the way this 3/4 of an inch clutch sits, there's no way to bolt it down, so it's kind of going to be free floating. Now, this doesn't pose a big problem because we don't have to worry about being absolutely perfect with our clutch placement. However, it does mean that since the keyway is on the inside of the clutch, if I can show you that, you can see the keyway is inside. There's no way to get it out. We do have to cut the keyway all the way down in order for the clutch to slide over and be effective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our Dremel right here. This is the smallest bit we have. It allows me to get in there, make an accurate cut, and I'm just going to basically grind a little bit, test fit, grind a little bit, test fit until we have a keyway that's cut all the way down with hopefully minimal play. I only have one of these. Another one would cost about 20 bucks, and I'm really hoping I don't mess this up, so I'm going to take my time. Could take all day. I don't care. I want to get this right. So that's what we're going to essentially be doing all today, is just grinding with the Dremel over there, and hopefully we'll be able to mount up the jack shaft today. That would be ideal. So I'm done babbling. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so it is 1 week later. I'm sorry for not posting a video last week. However, my dog had to go to the vet. It was a state of emergency, but he's doing okay now. So we're back out here a week later working on the lawnmower. And today we're going to be adding in a belt tensioner right here. In the last episode, we got the belt and stuff all mocked up. And then throughout the week, I've kind of just been messing with it, figuring out what parts I'm going to need to make, fabricate, things like that. So here's what I have laid out for the tensioner. This is actually a tensioner pulley off of this alternator bracket. We're just going to use it for mock-up right now because we may need this part for my dad's 1958 F100 over there. But for right now, this is going to be our mock-up pulley. I'm going to go later in the week to the hardware store and get another pulley that will be the permanent pulley. But I also have this bracket here. So it's a zigzag bracket, but it allows spacing from the frame so that way I can get the belt tensioned properly. Then I have this shaft from the steer tube. And this shaft is going to be a spacer, or I'm sorry, a bushing that will sit right in here. I'm going to drill a hole in this and then have our spacer on there. Weld the spacer into the hole here. That way, instead of having this little thin piece pivoting on the bolt, we have a decent sized spacer pivoting on the bolt. And this bolt is going to run through this part of the frame up here, so I'll have to drill a hole in the frame. And then I'm actually going to possibly weld the bolt to the frame. I haven't really decided yet if I need to or not. But that's going to be how the tensioner works. And I have a spring right there. But if the spring isn't enough, I'm just going to do a piece of threaded rod and have it a manual tensioner system like that. But this is how it's going to work. I'm going to weld this lag bolt to the tensioner, and that will be the belt side of things wrapped up and completed. Now for the, sorry guys, I'm very phlegmy today. For the chain side of things, last video we were I was trying to notch this keyway with a Dremel, and I thought there was a better way to do it. Sorry about the rain, guys. So I went ahead, ordered a cross vise, and I'm gonna pop the keyway or the shaft in here and drill the keyway out a little bit at a time, and I'm gonna come back through, grind out the space in between all the drill or all the holes, so that way it's a nice, uniform, even keyway, and it'll actually be how it's supposed to be. But that's gonna be what I'm tackling today. And then next week you guys are in for a treat because I'm also gonna be filming the Bronco build. I asked my brother if it's okay if I document him basically restoring this Bronco from the ground up. It's a late 80s, early 90s, I think it's a 1990 Ford Bronco. But last year we went ahead and took the body off, and the body is sitting out back behind the garage, but this is the frame. Today he's basically gonna be stripping it down to just bare frame rails. So I'm gonna be capturing some of that on film, and basically I'm gonna film his process of building this, and then we're gonna post it. We're gonna see how you guys like the Bronco restoration, and that'll give me time to save up for the next project once this lawnmower is done, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. But I'm done talking, done explaining. I'm gonna get back into the action part of the video, which is getting all this done and wrapped up so we can drive this thing. Woo! Let's go. Alright guys, sorry again about the rain, but as awesome of an idea as it was to try and make my own jack shaft, I just do not have the right tools for the job. The cross vise is going to be a great addition to the drill press. However, it's not going to cut the keyway how we need it, and I am just going to have to suck it up and buy an actual jack shaft. I thought I could save some money, but in the end, you should just buy the right part and not try to make your own sometimes. So we did get a good jump on today, or this week I guess. We made progress with the belt drive and the belt tensioner, and we got our jack shaft location right, but not so good on the keyway. Alright, so I have my wiring diagram here, and I'm going to just copy paste where the wires go to here. I figured out my battery location. I'm going to mount the battery right in here, going to put the battery tray in here, and then my solenoid's actually going to sit right up here, because the higher the better for these kinds of things, and I want to make sure that it's not around any fuel leaks, any battery, oil, anything like that. So right here is where our solenoid's going to mount, and then we have our battery location, so then we can base everything around that, and then I can also figure out how much money I need to spend on battery cables. So I'm going to go ahead, tack the bolts for the solenoid up, and then mount up the solenoid once those cool, and then I'll go ahead, route all the wires, and that'll be the end of this video. But I did try to mount the solenoid here, then realized that we got the fuel line here, and in the scenario that it would arc, it would not be good, so I just figured it'd be best to have it not near anything and avoid the arc completely, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, well the rain's back, but I got the solenoid all mounted up. I got the mounting bolts tacked in, solenoid's ready to go. Battery tray we'll do another day because I need to figure out what I'm going to make it out of. And I just want to apologize again, guys, for no video last week and also lack of getting the drivetrain done. I know this video was supposed to be the drivetrain, and I'm sorry that it wasn't, but we all learn things along the way, and this was just a learning experience for me. So now, based off of the solenoid location and the estimated battery location, we're going to figure everything out. Alright guys, so I just got done routing all the wires and getting all their lengths cut, and I have them all marked with blue tape. And that's going to finish up today. I am pretty tired. It's getting late. But I've gotten as far as I want to get, as I can get right now. So this week is just going to be waiting on parts to hopefully get here. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a bit all over the place. There was no real direction, and I apologize for that. It was supposed to go direction, but it kind of just, but it was a hectic week, and a lot of things went down. A lot of things didn't work out like I thought they were gonna, but all of my crap will be together for the next video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share with one of your friends. Other than that, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, and God bless.